You came to this video because you saw this title of how I got abs being lazy, right? And you're like, okay, what the fuck? Because that kind of contradicts everything you've known so far of like, oh, you can't be lazy and have abs, this and that, which is partially true. But I'm here to show you the other half of it, right? How me, as a lazy person, how I went from this is my first day in the gym, right? This is a picture of the first day I joined the gym. And this is, I don't even know what is going on here. I'm just like, okay, what is this? You see like the little fat hanging off my stomach, my tits, my fat little tits, and then you see me now, right? And this was me being lazy. This was me lazy. And how did I go from being lazy like this to having abs like this now, right? So in this video, I'm just really gonna show you the process from how I got abs being a lazy person, right? So I'm not going to tell you about the cookie cutter plans. I'm not going to tell you do more cardio. I'm not going to tell you this and that. This is a completely different approach that isn't talked about enough, but it is the one approach that is going to create the most substantial and long-lasting change, right? So if you actually want to get abs, right now you're lazy and you want to get abs, you want to look as good as you possibly can, feel as good as you possibly can, become someone different, I'm going to show you the exact approach that got me from this to that, right? Or from that to this now, right? So let me start off really quickly. A couple years ago, when I started the gym, I was just kind of cruising through life, right? Everything I did was revolved around laziness, was revolved around not wanting to do things, was just doing the bare minimum to get by with the minimum amount of effort possible. That describes lazy. That's who I was. That was me. I was Marco Fontana. I was lazy. I am no longer lazy. And let me show you the exact transition right now, right? So firstly, let me get into this, right? Why you don't have abs. Because you think that what is gonna get you abs is the harsh diets, it's doing the endless crunches, which doesn't even work because that spot reduction doesn't work, right? Think about it. If you have a bathtub full of water and you open the drain and it starts to drain out the water isn't only going to leave in that one specific spot where the drain is located, right? It's going to keep leveling and leveling and leveling down, right? Does that make sense? That's kind of how your body gets rid of fat as well. It doesn't just get rid of fat on the spot that you're working. Think about it. If you ran every single day to lose fat, why do people do cardio? Why do they run? Why do they swim? If that was actually how it worked and you ran to lose fat, you would only lose fat on your legs and your upper body would still be chubby, which isn't at all how your body composition works. All right. You also thought that, right? Oh, I'm gonna meal prep. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that to prepare my meals so I don't fall off. And every time you did, you would fall off. Same thing with your diets. You start this harsh ass diet, and then as soon as the diet finished, you would rebound and you'd get all that weight back because you didn't actually learn anything in the diet, right? You would also think that, oh, cardio is gonna get me lean. I have to do the diet. I have to do the cardio. I have to do endless crunches to get abs, and that's gonna get me lean. And guess what? You tried those things and it never worked. Maybe for a bit of a period of time it worked, but it wasn't long-lasting results. And I'm here to break down exactly why this doesn't work. All right? Because it's not what you do. All right? Not as in, oh, that's not what you do to lose weight. You can do those things to lose weight and get abs, but it's not what you as a person, who you are, your identity doesn't align with these actions, with eating properly, with working out, with doing cardio, with meal prepping, with being mindful of what you're eating. Right now, as a fat person, as a lazy person, your identity is telling yourself something different. Your identity is acting in accordance to everything but this. All right, does that make sense? So it is not what you do. When I say not what you do, it's you, as in your identity. All right. Now, what is your identity? And that's truly the most important factor to losing weight, to getting abs, to getting shredded is your identity. Let me explain. All right. Your identity is your self-image that will dictate 80% of your behavior automatically. Now, focus on that number, 80%. Why is that good? Right? You may think, oh, fuck, that I'm cooked. I'm cooked. If 80% of myself just acts like a fat person, how is the 20% gonna outweigh that? No, that's the good thing, is that it's only 80% and not 100%. So 20% right now is in your control. You can start working on that 20% that is then gonna flood that other 80%. And over time, you're gonna reverse this process. So right now, the 20% is the actions that's actually gonna get you to stay in shape, which is not aligned with your identity. But if you keep repeating this, you keep reinforcing an identity of someone that works out, of someone that has abs, of someone that is fit, then the 80% is going to become part of your new identity. So your new identity is going to reinforce those habits by 80%. And then the 20% is going to be the bad habits that you want to lose right now, that is then going to become effortless to move around, to overcome, right? To resist. Right now, you are seeing yourself as a fat guy trying diets. Right now, you're seeing yourself as a fat person, a fat guy trying diets. Trying diets is not aligned with a fat guy. A fat guy skips the gym, he caves to pizza, he half-asses plans, right? So it is an action that is not identity based, right? However, when you switch that identity and you're a fit man, what are the actions behind that identity? Someone who trains consistently, who prioritizes his health and fitness, right? Someone who walks daily with no internal battle. He doesn't think of cardio as, oh, fuck, I have to do cardio. No, he thinks of, I'm doing this because it helps me reach my goal. It works towards, that's just who I am. I'm just someone that does cardio. I'm just someone that takes care of their health, that doesn't eat meals that I know are not going to be beneficial for me, that aren't good for me, right? So that's kind of your identity. That's the explanation of identity. Now, just to give you a real world example, so you don't think this is some BS of like, oh, some woo 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 woo, oh, I have changed my identity, manifestation, this and that. First of all, it's true, you have to believe it. But secondly, there are studies made between identical twins with the same genes, the same everything, that shows that they have a 40-pound difference simply from environment, from habits, from identity. All right, so these things, despite them being identical twins with the same genetics, one is 40 pounds heavier than the other, simply based on their lifestyle, on their identity, on their habits. All right, now, I'm gonna be very real with you right now, because you clicked on this video hoping for, oh, I can be lazy and get abs, right? I get the best of both worlds. No. And that's exactly your problem. The reason you clicked on this video looking for a shortcut to get abs while being lazy is exactly why you are where you are. Because you don't want to get rid of the identity, but you want a result that is aligned with a completely different person, with a completely different identity. Now that does not make sense at all. You cannot be a fish and run a marathon. You cannot be, I don't know, a bird and swim. All right, it's two different things. There's two different identities, there's two different roles, there's two different actions and results that come with those identities, with those characteristics of those identities. All right, does that make sense? So if it doesn't, please comment. I'll clear everything up. All right, now, why does your identity dictate your physique, right? What does your identity reinforce? It reinforces your thoughts, it reinforces your habits, and it reinforces your results. Now, here's where it kind of gets tricky, because this is a cycle, all right? Your results, you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to see I'm fat, you're going to start thinking you're fat. You start thinking you're fat, you start acting fat. You start acting fat, you get fat results. You see that your results are fat, you start thinking you're fat. So you see how it's a loop, right? And how do we do this? Like, where do we stop? Now think about it. What's the easiest one to stop out of these three? Is it your results? Is it tomorrow waking up in the mirror and being shredded? Is it tomorrow waking up and running half a marathon, going to the gym, eating healthy, this and that? Or is it tomorrow thinking, maybe I shouldn't eat this. Maybe I should do 10 minutes of walking. Maybe I should go and do some push-ups. The best way to interrupt this cycle is to start by your thoughts. And it's the first step to actually switching your identity and getting that dream shape you've always wanted. All right. Now, there's a lot of other things that come behind it, like your why. Why do you want to get in shape? Think about it. Why do you want to get in shape? Is it because you're fed up with who you are right now? Is it because your kids are running around in the garden and you want to play with them, but fuck, I can't keep up. I'm fat as shit, right? Is it because you try to help your mom up the stairs the other day and you couldn't do it because you couldn't walk up the stairs yourself, because you were fatigued, because you were out of breath? Is it because you woke up and you rolled out of bed and you saw breadcrumbs and cookie crumbs on your fat rolls, right? Why do you want to get in shape? That's also going to be a massively dictating factor, because your why is going to give you enough of a reason to not stay complacent. If your why is strong enough, it doesn't matter what you have to do to get in shape, you will get in shape because anything is better than staying how you are right now. All right, so you have to get very clear on your why. And then you have to start reshaping your identity. All right, what is a fat guy? What are the habits this fat guy has? Now think about it. Fat guy is the identity. That's how you see yourself right now. You see yourself as a fat person. The fat guy has weekend cheat days. He thinks, oh, one beer won't hurt. Maybe it won't. But while you're thinking that, while you're thinking, oh, I can have a beer and still get fit, right? You're still thinking like a fat person, because a fit person thinks, I'm not going to have this beer because it doesn't make sense. All right? Or maybe if the fit person allows them to have a beer, it's because they know their identity is so consolidated that having this one beer isn't going to derail them. In your situation, it might. All right? A fat guy dreads going to the gym. A fat guy thinks, fuck, I have to go to the gym. Fuck, I have to do cardio. Fuck, I have to... This is basic stuff. This is basic stuff. It's not crazy to go to the gym. It's not crazy to take care of your health, take care of yourself, right? A fat guy thinks of unhealthy meals, doesn't think that, I'm going to eat this good thing because I know it's going to be good for me, right? A fit person thinks, why the fuck would I eat McDonald's right now when I can have my chicken, when I can have my potatoes, when I can have my steak that I know is going to be beneficial for me? It's going to make me feel better, feel more energized. It's going to, in the long run, give me more confidence, help with longevity, help with so many things, right? So stop thinking like a fat guy and start thinking like a fit guy, all right? Your brain filters your reality to match your identity, and I'll kind of briefly explain this, all right? So you are going to see what you want to see. You're going to see the story you tell yourself, all right? Have you ever, seen a car that you thought was interesting, then all of a sudden you only see that kind of car on the streets, right? You saw this Volkswagen Polo and you're like, oh damn, I didn't notice that car before, and then all of a sudden all you see is Volkswagen Polos, right? Has that ever happened to you? That's because your brain filters everything out and you see the one thing you're focused on, all right? Abs require 10 to 12% body fat, and only a lean person with a lean identity is going to have that 10 to 12% body fat, all right? Now, proof. Why is proof so important, all right? Because proof is going to show you that what you're doing, the progress you're making is in fact aligning with who you are, right? What you're doing is giving results. And what you're doing is dictated by your thoughts. So your thoughts are aligned with a fit person that is doing fit people stuff, that is getting those results, that is getting proof, that is collecting evidence. Now, proof isn't just the results, it's also the actions. It's also you catching yourself in the queue to, oh, I really want to eat this. It's you realizing, oh, is that actually what I want? Or is that just my old identity trying to keep me complacent, trying to keep me comfortable talking, right? You disassociate from that identity. Every time you think of something like I want to eat cookies, every time you think of something like, oh, I want to skip the gym, disassociate from that identity. That's not me. That's the old me. That's the Marco, that's the fat motherfucker thinking, oh, I want to skip the gym. I don't want to skip the gym. I want to go to the gym. But that's the other person thinking, trying to keep me comfortable, trying to keep me complacent, all right? Now, quickly running through the identity, through your reality. Your reality is dictated by the story you tell yourself or believe to be true, all right? Think about it. Reality isn't the same for everyone. That's why you see so many bodybuilders that think they're small. That's why you see so many fit people that think they're unfit. Because in their mind, in their reality, to their standards, they think they are not fit enough, all right? But you can be looking at them and be like, fuck, I wish I was like that. So your reality is going to be what you tell yourself. It's going to be what you believe that is true. Right now, what is a reality that you see right now? What is your current truth? What is the story you're telling yourself, right? You have a couple different aspects, right? Your core identity or reinforcing beliefs, right? Which is, I'm fat and that's who I am. You simply accept the excess weight as a trait that you cannot fix. And how does this benefit you? How does saying that I can fix this help you? How does it being out of your control help you at all? It just keeps you comfortable, right? You think you're big boned. You think I've always been this way. Don't you think that maybe you've always been this way because that's always how you've thought of yourself? And if you thought of yourself differently with a different standard, you would change? Think about it, right? You tell yourself, my body is broken, I have a slow metabolism, I have bad genetics, I have a thyroid problem, right? Oh, every time I try this diet, it fails me, this and that. Think about it. You are avoiding responsibility because you are telling me, out of everyone in the world, you and everyone that is like-minded, that has a similar body, that has a similar story to tell, has the same exact problem, that you were just genetically a genetic anomaly and you were genetically stuck forever with a slow metabolism, with thyroid problems, with bad genetics, with diets don't work on me, with going to the gym doesn't work on me. Think about it. Is that actually true, or is that just a story you want to tell yourself so that you can avoid responsibility? Then you have the behavior and the outcome beliefs, right? You think that being healthy equals being miserable. And I can tell you from experience, I used to think that once I got healthy, it would be such a hard life to keep up. I thought that once I got healthy, everything would be boring. But it's the exact opposite. Right now, you get pleasure from eating. You get emotional attachment. You have an emotional attachment to food. Once you let that go, you're going to start to get emotional attachment to other stuff that is actually going to be good for you. Now, when you eat a meal that you know is helping you reach your goal, you're going to be like, fuck, this meal is so good. I'm going to get so shredded, right? When you go to the gym, you're like, fuck, that was a good workout session. I really pushed myself. You start to feel good and you start to feel accomplishment. It's totally different to satisfaction in the moment. It's accomplishment, and it's a much more rewarding sensation, right? You tell yourself that exercise won't work for me, right? You say, oh, I've tried crunches. Cardio is too hard for me. You say, I don't have time for results. Do you actually not have time for results? Truly, how much time a day do you spend on Netflix? How much time a day do you spend on your phone? How much time a day do you spend doing absolutely fuck all, or sleeping in, or just useless tasks that you could be doing to work on yourself? Think about it. You order food, you order McDonald's, or you drive to McDonald's. That time you could be using to do something different. If you meal prepped and you had your meals ready, you could be using that time to go to the gym. You could be using that time to get your steps in. You could be using that time for something that is actually going to help you reach a different identity and a different result and a different outcome. All right? Then you have the weight loss is temporary pain, right? You think because you've had the wrong approach that is the only approach. You think that diets is starvation. You think that every time you diet you're gonna rebound, so there's no point in even starting. You think that it's not sustainable. Obviously, it's not sustainable if you have a horrible approach, right? Think about it. You're about to run a marathon and your approach is to sprint. That's not sustainable. You're not going to sprint for 42 kilometers, are you? Or is it 48? I don't even know how long a marathon is, right? That is not a sustainable approach. Obviously, that's not going to work. When you take harsh measurements, you're not going to get a long-term result, right? Think about it. If you have an exam the next day and you just study everything the night before, maybe you can get a good grade on that exam, but you're not actually going to have learned anything because you just absorbed so much knowledge, more than you can actually understand and interiorize in the long term. That's why math isn't taught in one day. That's why science isn't taught in one day of the year. That's why it's a whole year's worth of process, right? It depends on your approach. That's how you make it sustainable, with a proper approach, with good structure, with something that is going to fit your lifestyle. It's going to fit your level of experience. It's going to allow you to adapt and adjust as time goes and improve and gradually make better and better and better and better and better progress. All right. Then you have the social and emotional beliefs, right? You think that people judge your body. You think that going to the gym isn't for you because only fit people go to the gym. You think that, I'm shamed at the beach. And maybe you are shamed at the beach. But this is all just an excuse to keep you the same. Because if you actually felt bothered by it, instead of avoiding the beach, you can go to the beach. If you're shamed going to the beach, get in shape. There is something you can do. Avoiding responsibility is never going to help you. Avoiding responsibility, there's no benefit in avoiding responsibility, even if it's 99% not your fault. Take that 1% and expand it, amplify it to make it 100% your fault. Okay, how could I have avoided this? How can I change this? That is how you become someone different. By taking accountability, taking responsibility, and looking at the actionable steps you can do to change that. to change that identity, right? You think that change equals loss of risk, right? You think that, oh, if I get abs, I'm going to lose the friends I have right now. You think that being fit is a lonely life. You think that you have nowhere to hide if you fail. Brother, you think that the risk is losing your life right now. But how are you going to evolve and change if you don't lose the life you have right now? I have lost friends. I'm not going to lie to you. When I started this working online and working myself, I have lost some friends. Is that such a bad thing though? If the people you resonated with behind or prior were keeping you in that situation or were feeding you to stay in that situation, is it so bad if you want to change your reality? Think about it. If you have to buy a new car, a better car, a Ferrari, and you have to leave your Volkswagen or your fucking Honda behind, is that bad that you don't get to drive your Honda anymore? Because now you're going to be driving a Ferrari. Is it that bad if what you're losing is what you didn't want to begin with? There's so many things that come into play, right? All these fears, all these mental things that you think is going to come collapsing down on you, that is horrible. I've seen the other side of it, and it's not that bad. And you just need to commit. You just need to start. You just need to overcome that fear of change, or do it with the fear of change. Be even more ballsy. But staying the same is going to be worse. And you know it. And you're avoiding it because you want to stay. Now, how are you going to fix this? All right? You have to map your identity. How do you map your identity? You have to audit yourself. You have to think, what do I say about food? What do I say about training? What is my perception on that, right? Is it I hate cardios? Is it I always cave at late night? Is it diets don't work for me? Is that your internal dialogue? If it is, how can you switch that? No matter if it's not true. Say it until it becomes true. Your body doesn't understand the difference between reality and fiction. That's why when you watch a horror movie, you get so scared, you have nightmares about it, because your brain does not comprehend the difference between the truth or the actual reality you're living and a verosimil moment. So if in your mind you start to create that mentality, you start to create those thoughts, it's going to become so verosimil, it's going to become so true, you're going to be able to grasp it. And then that's when you start to change your reality. That's when you start to change your actions. That's when you start to change your results. And then habit proof, right? What patterns match your current identity, right? Is your current identity the identity that shows that, oh, I skip 2 times the gym, that I binge on the weekends, that I have pizza every night, that having these foods, having sweets is a reward? Is that the true reward? Think about it. Are your habits actually reinforcing who you want to become or who you are in this sense? And then the mirror test. What does your identity reflect daily? Do you look in the mirror and see someone that is disciplined, that is committed, that takes care of themselves, that is ready for any task, that can overcome anything because they are the shit? They know what to do. There are people to be taken seriously. Or does it tell the story of a fat person that is afraid of commitment, that wants to stay comfortable, that avoids responsibility? And is that the story you want to tell yourself? If you're okay with that, listen, man, don't complain. If you're okay with being comfortable, don't complain about being fat. Get off this video. This video is not going to help you if you're okay with being complacent. But if you're not, and you don't take action, that may even be worse. Because at least a fat person that is comfortable with being fat, they're not living in ignorance. They know that, okay, I'm fat, I'm okay with that, that's that. But if you're fat and you're not okay with it and you don't do anything about it, that is 10 times worse. Now, you're stuck in the current fat guy loop. But take a look at this, right? You skip the gym. Skipping the gym proves that you're lazy. And proving that you're lazy is going to create that internal dialogue of, I'm lazy, so I'm going to skip the gym. And that's just going to keep on looping and looping and looping, right? I have pizza at night. I always cave when there's food like this. That's going to lead you to cave every time. Oh, I half-ass my diets. It proves that diets fail. So you quit early. And then you start a new diet, you half-ass it, you prove it fails, you quit early. Do you see a pattern here? Do you resonate with a pattern here? I guarantee you, Maybe not these exact 3 examples, even though you probably do, but there's something that you will understand that you tell yourself, I'm this, and because I'm this, I do that. And when I do that, it proves that I'm this. And when I do this, it proves that I'm that. And when I do that, it proves that I'm this. And it's just a loop, and a constant loop. Now, what is a 4-step shift that you can do is evidence hunt, all right? List 3 proofs against that identity you're trying to shift away from, right? The identity that you no longer assume. I hit 10K steps yesterday, or I hit 5K steps yesterday. That's 2,000 more steps than yesterday. I'm working on myself. I prioritize cardio, right? Just like this, I hit 5K steps. Doesn't mean you can't improve it to become better, but it shows that those things are helping you work towards that identity. I hit a deadlift PR last month. Bro, that's 20 kilos more than when I started. I'm progressing in the gym. It is getting me results, all right? Then declare your new identity. Now, this may seem like bullshit, but right now I don't have the notebook with me. Downstairs in my journal, you write down your identity 10 times a day when you wake up, 10 times a day when you go to sleep, right? Write it down, look at it, read it over and over, saying, I am not fat. Instead of I am not fat, don't write that, because you're going to be focusing on the not, on the negative. Think, I am fit. I take care of myself. I go to the gym. I eat clean. I eat healthy. I take care of my health. I do my steps. I lift weights. I don't buy junk food. I leave everything prepared. I meal prep, right? And then look at yourself in the mirror. Look at it. Look at yourself. You're talking to yourself and you're saying, I'm a fit person. I take care of myself. Health is a priority to me, and do that. And no matter how stupid it may look, no matter how stupid it may sound, you haven't tried it so far, or at least committed to it so far. So what does it take away from trying? What hurts? What can possibly go wrong by you trying it? Prove that you failed? No, if anything, it proves that you are trying to make a difference in your life. And that itself is already a habit where it's already evidence that you are trying to change your habits, that you're trying to change yourself. And like I said here, over day 7, it's going to feel less and less awkward, and you're going to start to see results. Prove, stack daily, all right? Post-workout, show that what you did today in the gym is you working towards that identity, right? Build evidence hourly, reflect on that. And then lastly, environment match. If your fridge is filled with junk food, if your gym bag isn't ready, if your phone doesn't have your tracking app, doesn't have the step counter, doesn't have at least something that's going to monitor your progressive overload in the gym, you're setting up yourself for failure. If you don't have junk food at home, you can't eat it. If you have on your calendar, go to the gym, you can't say, I didn't know I was supposed to go to the gym. If you have the tracker, you can't say, I didn't track because I didn't have access to tracking something. No. Make your environment, build your environment as aligned with the identity you want to have as possible. I've made a video entirely based on how your environment is going to help you get in shape. If you want a video, go to my account, search it up, or I can even add a link in the description. But either way, take a look at that video. Now, to conclude, you can't get abs being lazy. Being lazy is an identity, and having abs is not identity-based. You can't be lazy and have abs. You can't be fat and have abs. So you must, before anything else, shift your identity. With that, guys, I'll leave you with this video. I will be posting more and more helpful videos like this. If it actually helped you, please comment. If you want to learn anything else, comment that as well. And if you watch this video and you still don't know where to start, you're still like, fuck, I'm kind of lacking clarity on what to do, text me on Instagram. Let's set up a call. Let's see how I can help you out with this. Let's see where you're lacking and what structure is actually going to help you reach your goals. With that said, boys, have a good one. Start to focus on your identity and you will become someone different. See you in the next video.